welcome back to another coffee and conversation style video. Today's topic I think is a little bit more of a fun one to discuss, and it's also very relevant, I think. And I know that you already have a pretty good idea of what that topic is, but I'm going to read the question as it came in so that way you know what sort of things I'm going to cover and go into on the question, because it was kind of a longer question. So I'm going to read that here in just a second. But first, I want to thank you for the comments and the feedback from the last video. I was pretty surprised to get such a positive response immediately from that last video, and I'm really excited to do another one of these videos with you again so that we can have more of a conversation on this platform and talk about things that are relevant to our lives. And I hope that today's video provides you with some great tips on this issue and some ideas and some resources that I use, and I hope that you enjoy today's coffee and conversation. So let me go ahead and grab my notes here, and I'm going to read the question for you. Okay, so she writes, how do you stay motivated and or inspired in your homemaking? Doing the same things every day, I often feel lonely and isolated, and it can be hard to find joy in what I am doing. Do you have moments like this? And if so, what do you do about them? Okay, so definitely yes. A very short answer would be yes. Of course, I have those moments. However, I will say that they are fewer and further between as they were when I first became a mother and a homemaker myself. And so I want to share some of these tips with you today that I have found to be very helpful to keep me in that positive mindset, to keep me inspired, and to help me to find joy every single day, because I know sometimes it's not as easy as other days, right? Let's get into the first couple of tips that I have for you. I did some notes, I did some real thinking on what I actually did every week and sometimes every day to come up with a list to talk about here with you. And the first one I just kind of want to cross off here is the physical aspect of taking care of ourselves. Okay, I'm not talking about vanity, I'm talking about physically, health-wise, what are we doing for ourselves? And I want to bring this up because I've been having some conversations with the people around me who don't necessarily do these things every day. And I was talking to my sister, and she might be watching this, so you know who you are, but I won't name you by name. But I was talking to her about going through the checkpoints of the day and making sure that she's doing some of these basic things. And of course, I had these conversations with my friends as well. So as basic as they sound, a lot of women are not doing these things, especially if you're a mother and a homemaker and you got all these other people to take care of. We as women tend to take care of ourselves last, and that's not a good habit to get into. So if that's you, maybe try to work on some of these things. Some of those things are drinking water every day, making sure that you're getting enough water. It's super important to be hydrated. It's important to get enough sleep every night. If you have newborns, of course, it's going to fluctuate for you, but they don't stay newborns forever, so eventually you can get on a good sleep schedule. Taking a vitamin every day, and along with that is making sure that you eat nutritious food. Just being mindful of what it is you're eating and trying to incorporate nutritious food throughout the day and making that a priority. The other thing is moving your body. Sometimes I'm writing a lot, I'm at the computer a lot, and my legs, I could feel it, like I need to get up and circulate those and move around. But taking a walk after lunch or doing a YouTube exercise video every now and then, making sure that we're moving our bodies every day so that way we're keeping in a good health, right? Like these are all the things: water, vitamins, sleeping, all of those elements. And as much as it's like we're talking about motivation and inspiration today, but you cannot serve others if you are not in good health and you don't feel good. And a lot of this does play into how you feel about yourself, which then transfers into our moods every day. So it's very important to take care of ourselves. Just sticking on the physical part of this just for a moment, and this is in no way meant to be a vanity thing, but more so on the self-care and caring for ourselves topic, okay? Is to make sure that I get up every day and I get dressed. Now, I did a series called The Art of Homemaking a few months back, and that sort of started this whole homemaking community on here. And if you didn't catch the episode where I spoke about looking presentable every day, I will put it in the note cards above so that you could check out that video. But it was a video talking about what I have discovered as a stay-at-home mom or homemaker in my days of being one, that if I got up for a long time when my daughter was younger, I would get up every day and just wear the yoga pants and throw my hair up because I wasn't going to see anybody. And I have realized over the years that even through COVID, like I got up every day and got dressed because it was that important. We were going absolutely nowhere, as you guys know, but it made me feel better every time that I looked in the mirror, because that means something. Every time you pass by that mirror, if I looked frumpy, it just made me feel out of the mix, right? Like everybody's out there with their jobs, or everybody's out there, you know, when I was younger and I would walk by the mirror, and it was just this thing that I had to recognize early on, like I need to get up and I need to get dressed every day. And that doesn't mean that I got to get up and put a full face of makeup on, but I should run a comb through my hair, right? I should put on something that's nice. It's matching. There's no stains all over it, right? My hair's combed, like I said. I washed my face. I'm doing these very basic things so that I could feel good about myself. So in addition to taking care of my physical self, I'm also making sure that I look presentable for every single day. And if you need some motivation and inspiration on that, I suggest you watch the video on that, because that might help inspire you. The other thing that I want to talk about is finding like-minded people, okay? I think this is a big one for homemakers, especially if you're not working outside the home at all and you don't really have any other ways to make friends. In this day and age, this is no longer like 1950s where most women are staying home and at home, and so you could find a neighbor that's easily accessible and they're all doing the same things as you. It's no longer that sort of world anymore. And it could be very isolating, I think, when our friends can't relate to us and we can't relate to our friends. So it's always nice if you have one friend, but if you don't even have one friend, that loneliness factor is definitely there for a lot of people. My answer to that would be to find people online. Even this community that's being created here, you know, talking to each other in the comments, getting to know one another. That's a beautiful thing, to see other people, like-minded women that are around the globe that you can relate to. They are interested in the same things you are. They have the same challenges. We can kind of talk to each other that way. And I found that online has been such a beautiful resource in my own homemaking. A wonderful resource that I have surprisingly found to be my biggest connector to other like-minded women has been Instagram. On Instagram, of course, if you have an Instagram account, you already know this, but if you don't, on Instagram, people share a little bio about themselves on their profile. There's a lot of women out there that are homemaking across the globe, and you can find these women by their hashtags or by their, you know, account names even, and just connect with them. I have found so many other homemakers and mothers out there that I would not have necessarily been able to meet in real life, right? Because they don't live around me, but they're out there online. Since we are talking about Instagram, I have to tell you, if you are looking for connection with other like-minded homemakers, one of my most favorite homemaker account is the account We're the Homemakers Club, and it's on Instagram. And she actually just started a podcast not very long ago, just a few weeks back, and I've been listening every single Monday for when Ashley puts out a brand new homemakers podcast, and she will tell you about her podcast through her post. And I think there's even a link on her bio that you can find community there of women that speak to each other on the comments and connect with each other. They're into gardening and sewing and cooking and homemaking and child rearing and all of the wonderful things that make up our days every day. And it's very important, I think, to not feel so isolated and have that community. If you have to go online for it, I highly recommend doing that and checking out Ashley's podcast and her Instagram page. I'm the sort of person that is so motivated by beauty. As a creative person, I have to constantly feed my own inspiration, right? I have to constantly make that a requirement in my day and certainly in my week. And I mean, not just scrolling on social media, because there is a limit to how much that can actually inspire me personally. I get a lot of inspiration from reading and looking and holding a tangible book and looking at the photographs to get inspired. A free resource for you is to visit the local library. If you don't want to go ahead and buy a bunch of coffee table books, which I do recommend having a few on hand that are your favorites that you love to look at, that will give you a visual stimulation. And I like books on gardening. I want to see people's houses. I love looking at cookbooks. Those give me inspiration in my own kitchen. Whatever feeds you. If you like to sew, maybe get some books on sewing. And I do this intentionally every single week so that I have a stack of beautiful books that I could look through in the evening, and I can feel inspired and go in that space of creativity and feeling joy and getting new ideas from other people so that I could feel excited about something new and bringing something into my own space. And it might not necessarily look or be exactly like what someone else is doing, but it does help to spur ideas for my own home and for my own life. And certainly looking at recipes and cookbooks is great for coming up with meal ideas. So I really recommend going and getting some books. In the same vein as library books and podcasts, I feel like it's very important to feed my mind beautiful things, whether that be those things or that also be beautiful music to listen to while I'm working, or a book on tape that I don't necessarily have the time to read. There's lots of really wonderful Audible books out there that you can listen to, and I think there's actually some free Kindle books that you can look up and find some good books that you can listen to during the day, or I just put music on in the house, and that helps me sort of stay in that joyful mindset and that mood. And I know that's something small, but I definitely think that it helps the mood and the mood shift there when you're having that grumpy day. That's another great one, is some just beautiful music to listen to every day. The last thing I want to talk about is having something to look forward to. Okay, so on this, every day we're doing these same things, just like she asks, you're doing the same things every day. How do you find joy in that? You're doing the same dishes, you're making the same bed, right? And it becomes this monotonous thing. But if I have to clean the dishes again, and I know at the end of those dishes, I am going to have some time to look through those beautiful books, it motivates me to clean those dishes so that I could have that time to sit and enjoy my books. I am also very motivated by being out in my garden at the end of every evening. I like to go and just unwind out there. That's a big motivator for me. Throughout my days, I think I get to go to the garden when I'm done with this. And a lot of times I'll put on Ashley's podcast, or I'll put on another podcast. I'll leave a few below for you in the description box, along with any books or other resources that I can link to help you find some inspiration and some resources for yourself. So you can find them in the description box below. Well, that is it for today's Coffee and Conversations video. I hope you enjoyed the topic and the discussion today. If you did, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions or questions for me that you'd like me to cover on one of these style of videos, please leave them below as well, or you can shoot me an email. Either way, I read them all, and I definitely will consider them as they come in. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful week ahead.